All right, he's still a president-elect, but that didn't stop, Canada's Prime Minister Trudeau to stop and pay a visit at Mar-a-Lago to stop something that he says would be devastating to his country. He says at the same time to Canada and the United States mutually, and that is tariffs that the president plans when he reassumes office. Doug Ford is the Ontario Canada Premier. What he makes of all of this. Premier, very good to have you. You're joining us on the phone. I know we have some video issues with you, but what do you make of this and where this relationship stands?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, Neil. We've always had an incredible relationship between Canada and the U.S., and we want to continue that. We want to make sure that we build a Can-Am fortress, per se, if you want to call it that. And the real focus should be on China. It should be on Mexico. China bringing in cheap products through Mexico, slapping stickers that they made in Mexico and shipping it up through America into Ontario and Canada and costing Americans and Canadians jobs. That's what we should focus on. We're so much stronger together.
Do you think it was a mistake for the Prime Minister to visit Donald Trump?
No, I don't think it's a mistake at all. Right now, it's Team Canada, and
yeah.
I'm glad that the Prime Minister went down there, the first leader of the G7, to come and visit President-elect Trump.
A lot of people say there's a big difference between your country and China, and that they're kind of lumped in the same tariff bucket. What do you think?
Well, I think it's unfortunate considering Canada does $1.3 trillion of trade, more than China, Japan, UK, and France combined. Ontario alone does $500 billion of two-way trade. And I might add, it's equally split down the center. And you were a big auto province here, and it's parts can go back and forth across the border up to 8 times. So the supply chain is very connected.
Donald Trump was making a joke with Trudeau in which he said, you could always become a state and those problems go away. But what did you make of that?
Well, the president has a good sense of humor. And, it's a funny comment. I guess he's still upset that, in 1812 we burnt down your White House, and he's holding a grudge after 212 years. But I understand he's a funny guy. So.
But I am curious, whatever people's views on this subject and the individual personalities, the president-elect says that tariffs are the sweetest word to him. They're very effective. They can be used as a cudgel to get what you want out of those who you feel are taking advantage of you. But you can also go too far with these things, and other countries reciprocate with tariffs of their own, and it builds on itself. Do you think that this could really explode into a global recession if it gets out of hand?
Well, I hope not, Neil, because you can't compare Canada with any other country in the entire world when it comes to the U.S. We're part of the family, per se. We're the #1 trading partner, Ontario alone, to 17 states. We're #2 to 11 others. 9 million Americans wake up every single morning to produce products that get shipped up to our province, Ontario. And I think it's a great partnership. It's a great friendship that's gone on for many generations, and we want to keep it that way. We're so much stronger when we stick together. I heard the other day, Neil, I think it was yesterday, China came out and talked about the critical minerals. They're going to cut the U.S. off. Well, who has the critical minerals? Ontario has the critical minerals, and I don't want to give them to anyone, but I'll tell you one thing, I want to give them to the U.S. to support them. They need our energy, the Americans. We ship 4.3 million barrels every single day down to the U.S. Ontario sends energy, electricity down to New York State, down to Michigan to keep your factories going, keeping the lights on in New York. That's what we have to offer and much more. So we look forward to a mutually rewarding relationship moving forward.
All right, we'll watch it very closely. Doug Ford, Ontario Canada Premier. Premier, always good seeing you or hearing you again.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Doug Ford, the Canada Premier. These tariffs are going to be in effect, we are told, with Canada and Mexico. It could extend to much of Asia. So China is a front and center country, but it won't be limited to that, as Donald Trump targets what he says are unfair trading practices on the part of friend and foe alike on the global stage. We'll see if it does prove to be merely the cudgel he does get concessions from, or something worse.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.